Pretty soon I'm going to do a video and share a little bit about the book that literally changed my life. It just changed the whole trajectory of my thinking and my life. It's called The Rise of Theodore Roosevelt by Edmund Morris. And I read it in 2001. I picked it up sort of by happenstance, and I knew a little bit about Teddy Roosevelt at that point, but I wanted to learn more about his leadership style. And I picked up the book, and I literally could not put it down for several weeks. It's a long book, and I was working at the time, but any free chance I had, I literally was reading this book in the back of cars, walking in stores, walking down the street, in a lot of free time. And I just became enamored with his story, his journey, his arc, going from a sick, weak child and growing himself into a man who, not only became a great leader, but also a great speaker. And I'm sharing this because I used to envision and dream about, I used to listen and read about the stories of his talks and his speeches. This was in primarily the 1890s. He started giving a lot of talks in the 1880s, in his early 20s as a young legislator in New York. But then he grew into a big-time leader in the 1890s, eventually became governor of New York for a period and gave a lot of talks. And then as president, of course, in the 1900s. And sometimes without a microphone, he'd be speaking to hundreds of people. And I would literally envision and visualize and dream and say, one day I want to do that. I had this dream, but here's the catch. This was the time in my life when I was so petrified of public speaking. And I had to do a little bit of that on and off in my career at the time, what I was doing for work. But I was nervous, and I would dream about being able to grow myself into a good leader, a great leader, and a great public speaker like Teddy Roosevelt. And this isn't The Rise of Teddy Roosevelt, but it's one of my Roosevelt books. And I dreamed of being like him as a speaker. And it's so interesting because today, while I'm certainly not president of the United States, and I don't speak to millions, and I don't even speak to thousands at a time, one day I will. I don't want to be president, by the way. I just want to be able to share my message with the right people and a lot of people. But I was dreaming about this, and it's so funny because I had the fear of like, oh my gosh, how am I going to do it? But he did it. He was very weak and sick as a child, and even in his early 20s, he was very nervous speaking, especially when he became a legislator. His early talks up at the State House in New York and Albany were known to be like rambling, babbling, oh my gosh, not great talks. But he grew himself into an amazing speaker. And I said, I'm going to do the same thing. So what are your, I just want to jump on and share that because what are your dreams? Who has inspired you? Who has motivated and fired you up that you want to not copy, because we don't want to copy anybody, but emulate their path, their journey in terms of where they went from here to here. I don't want to be Teddy Roosevelt. I don't want to be president of the United States, but I want to be a great speaker. I want to make an impact. I want to be a great leader. And he is my historical hero. That book changed my life. And his story and his journey has helped me in my path. So ask yourself, what has helped you in your path? Whose story and what dreams that you had have helped you along the way? This is part of mine. I would love to know what's part of yours.